It's Sunday morning. It's far too windy to do any spraying. There's something going on with this tractor, which I'll tell you out in a bit, but it's too windy for fertiliser and it's too windy to spraying. So it's a day of playing in the boat and seeing if the spring wheat's coming up and whether the sunflowers have emerged yet as well. So we're going to have a go and take a quick look at that as well. Killer ducks. They're guarding the territory.
Why are they not going there?
Quack.
Go faster.
Okay. I don't like it. I don't like getting wet.
In the boat with Olivia. Hey, ducks, Chester. Are you pretending to be a duck?
No, I think he's after him. Oh no!
Hey.
Stay back! Stay back!
Little paws. Henry's dog's not happy. In the sunflower field now, behind the trees, it's quite windy. That's why I'm behind the trees, so you can hear me, so it's not blowing on the camera. But this is how windy it is, I'll show you. These are bits off the hawthorn hedge that have blown off in the wind. So, just shows you. Anyway, we're going to dig down and see if we can see any sunflowers coming up. It's really dry. We could be the start of a drought. Bit of a weed growing there. I don't think that's a sunflower. It's really dry. We're about got a bit of moisture though now, about say 2 inches down. Right, I think I'll pause you, find one, and then start recording. You don't want to see me digging; it's a bit boring. I found the seed now. It has just started to sprit. It is still quite moist at that depth, but it is dry. There's another one here that's sprit as well. So it's just forcing its way up. The funny thing, sunflowers, they kind of force their way up and they take the shell of the seed up with them. But that is where the most juicy, I think. That's when the crows eat them and the pigeons. So we'll put a gas gun on this the next day or two, just to stop them eating that bit as it comes up. Then once that's come up, then we've got to keep the rabbits off. Chester's now dried off after his boating trip and swimming trip. It helps running around in dry soil. It's a bit like talcum powder. Got some more grass clippings from Everton. You might have just seen that on Countryfile, because I'm filming this before Countryfile's gone out. Then we've got some horse muck to spread. And then over here, we've got the pile that we spread with all the bins blown over, so there's rubbish everywhere. I have to pick all this up. This is the bales that we had round there, so the mini bale maize, if you remember it from last year. I'll try and find a picture. There you go, that's the mini bale maize. That, now we've chipped all that, big pile of string over there, and then this now we'll put in the muck spreader. We'll spread this, ready to plough in. Mad thing is, it's actually dried out pretty well. It's really nice stuff. We maybe could have put it on the drying floor, force dried it and used it as fuel, or someone could have used it as bedding, but we'll put it back as organic matter. Chester's enjoying running up it. Is that the biggest thing you've ever run up, Chester? Yeah, so we'll spread that on here, then this will be ploughed when we need to. So when the field behind that hedge that we've just looked at, when the sunflowers get to 3 leaves, we will then plough this. Chester's making all a mess, it's all blowing me down my neck. Just ran up that pile of straw, blew down my neck. Yeah, we'll spread it on this field, plough it in so we bring a bit of moisture up if it's still dry, and then do the same with this one, work it and sow it with sunflowers, so that once the sunflowers in that field start to die off, then these ones, then we'll cut the new maize into this one. So we'll do like we did last year with 2 mazes. And then we'll go over here now, it might get windy, and we'll look if the spring wheat's coming up. That was sown a few days later than the other stuff that was sown after the sweet corn. So remember yesterday I showed you some spring wheat that was coming up, and I said I wish I'd showed you it the day before. Well, this field is about the day before. It's hard to actually see it coming up. You can just see a little bit of a green tinge depending on the angle you look at. So if you look like that, you can see them all dead small. But if you look from the side, you don't really see anything. Anyway, hopefully tomorrow this will look as different again. Day after, even more different. So this is the volunteer rape after the sunflowers. So it's been a bit unfortunate because the pigeons have been perching on here and then hopping down and eating it. But anyway, now it's got a few little, can't focus will it? A bit of a pollen beetle on it there. It focuses by my fingernail. But it's got buds on it. It's now growing faster than the pigeons. And if you look at the far side of the field where the pigeons don't go near the road, that is now in flower. So interesting to see what this yields. With rape, just taking the pigeon. Can you see him over there? There he is. He's just chased a pigeon. Might leave him here all day. Yeah, so rate now is sort of about £800 a tonne, maybe more. Well, if it does a tonne to an acre, it cost me nothing in seed because it was self-generating. I put the tiniest bit of fertiliser on and it's had no sprays whatsoever. It could be the most profitable crop on the farm if we get some rain. This is an old sunflower stalk. If you snap it in half, in the middle, it's just like polystyrene, but obviously totally organic. It's just a shame that no one's made a machine yet that can peel it open and then you can take it out and use it for packaging, or maybe just shred the stalks. Oilseed rape's a bit similar, but with it being sunflowers, it's obviously a thicker stem and it's totally like renewable polystyrene. This stem though, it's all rotted and fell to the bottom. It looks like it's been on fire. Not sure if you can hear the panting, and it was either Chester or Charlotte, I don't know. Back in the bean field, and this one has croaked it. It's gone white. Looks like it's dying. Might put a peg in it, come back to it and see what it looks like tomorrow. Right, see the green lines there? Follow them all the way up. And then there's a patch missed, sort of, I don't know, 6 metres by 12 metres. It's where the drills turned on late. I think it was actually one of the first passes that they did through the middle of the field, putting an AB line in for the GPS. So Gareth from Horsh was sat on with Andrew at the time, so Gareth, we're blaming you for it. But otherwise it's the only miss on the whole field. Unfortunately it's 12 metres by 6 metres. If it's a 6 metre drill, it's going to be 6 metres by 3. So it's twice the size you'd normally do. So if you make a mess with that drill, it's a big one. Well, that's not really that big, but you know what I mean. When I look here and see the rows, and I look there where the sprayer drove through to put the pre-emergence spray on, you can see what I mean, why beans don't like tight soil. And if we'd have rolled the whole field, everywhere the tractor would have gone, we'd have had less establishment, even though the tyres would have been really soft. And then also, it could have made it a bit more difficult for some of the others to come through. So I know it looks sort of cobbly, but over time, the weather will break these lumps down and it should be fine for putting winter wheat in afterwards. This is the wheat we looked at yesterday. It's grown again already. Looks amazing. Got a young farmers club coming around tomorrow, so I'm going to start lining some of the tractors up in the shed ready. 1690's not been running since it was power harrowing, so let's see if it starts. Is it going to go? You can get a full engine rebuild kit for about 600 quid, so I think it's probably wise that we rebuild the engine before we paint it. I think the battery's going to go flat before it fires though. So if it doesn't, I'll leave a space for it. I'll move the 1455. No, it's not going to go. Job for tomorrow. When the wagons were going out, there was so much dust blowing up down the yard, and it's just blown away. The yard's completely dust free now because it's all ended up by the house. So next time it rains, it'll get trodden in the house. That's just how it is. It's always dusty and mucky at a farm, isn't it? See if the MAXXUM starts. It's been a little bit funny since his left ignition on the battery went flat, but we'll try it. Oh, we need it in neutral, aren't we? Which one is it? Which one is it? Yeah, so this doesn't want to do anything completely, unless he's disconnected the battery. He has been working on the electrics though. Battery is still connected, but it's totally dead, so whatever he's done or doing, It's obviously got some sort of short on it, so I can't move that one either, because I wanted to get that one out and put that in as well. Also, Andrew's John Deere, we'll get that lined up in the shed next to the other one. It is still for sale. He wants to spend the money on other things, so if anyone is interested in $49.55, there is one there. Loads of people DM saying how much, just over 30 I think he wants for it. I am tempted myself, but I spent so much money on fertiliser, I can't afford it. Anyway, got a problem with the MV track. I'll flip the camera and I'll show you. I noticed these little bits of paper, and we've had a Farmer's Guardian chewed up inside the cab. So there's obviously some sort of mousy rodent living in there. So we need to get this out tomorrow. Blow the cab completely out in case there's any grain in it, because it was parked in a grain shed and we were getting in and out and it was sticking to the soles of our feet. Some grain must have got inside, so the mice have thought, oh, let's live in here because it's nice and warm. So we'll completely jet wash it, blow the cab out with an airline, give it all a good clean out, put it in the other shed, because it's going to be a while before we can refurb this, because the budget just doesn't allow. And the 1690 is probably more of a priority, because I think that's a quicker, easier job to do. So I think I'll do that one first, then that can live outside, whereas now I don't want the rust on it to get any worse. As a top tip for you, the PTO shaft on the muck spreader has been out on hire and come back damaged. But if you get that number off it, there, like that WWW whatever, WWE2580 whatever, if you type it in Cramp's website, it brings up everything to do with that kind of shaft, where you can buy from that end to that end, or actually like just the green bit or just the yellow bits. So I'm going to show you now in the workshop what I've got. Yeah, so I ordered that off Cramp. It pretty much came the next day, and there it is. The green bit I needed and the 2 plastic tubes complete with chains. Admittedly though, it has got a slightly different number on it, so we will have to just make sure it does fit before I completely unpackage it. But yeah, I didn't know you could do that. I thought the part number would have only meant something to Waltershire, but it actually meant something on the internet, so that's great. Normally you'd have had to take the shaft off the spreader or the guard off, go to a dealership, stick it on the desk, they'd mess around on the computer for 20 minutes, and then they'd have to order it, and then you'd have to then go back and pick it up. Which instead I just typed that number into the search bar in the Cramp website and it came up, so perfect. But like I say, I will just check it's right before I put it on. It's a bit like Amazon, but with tractor stuff. Speaking of Amazon, this has arrived, and it is 20 Ukrainian flags, little ones and a big one, and the tags for the trucks that arrived at 3:30 instead of 1 o'clock when we needed them for. So we had to borrow some of them, and we didn't have these little flags for the kids to wave, but never mind. Only 2 names on the birthday bumper today, but it's now up to £1,200 nearly, so that is brilliant, and thanks to everyone for the donations. Anyway, David, Coyle and Jessica. Now I'm not even going to read your second name, but it is so long you've took up half the bumper. Happy birthday to you guys and anyone else whose birthday it is today. So Country File's just been on. For some reason he edited Sumo off the weight block, so it just looked like a grey weight block, which is a bit random. Apparently I now own 1,400 acres in Merseyside, which is amazing, because I might just sell up and retire. The other good thing was the wheat didn't look too bad. I was worried that it might look a bit rubbish with the drone, although you could see the 12-metre tram lines in it. But they also never mentioned where I said that the government really should take over these 2 fertiliser plants in the UK that are sitting idle doing nothing. And then they kind of led everyone to believe that it's all right, we can all use chicken muck at £30 a tonne, if only it was there. Anyway, wasn't too bad. I was pretty pleased with what they did. They saturated the colour out my top as well, so you couldn't read contract for some reason. If you looked, I looked really bright. I don't really watch it. If you watched it, let me know. If you've noticed the Sumo had gone off the weight block, let me know. Or did you not notice? Either way, let me know. Anyway, that's about all for today. I'll see you tomorrow. The wind's due to drop tomorrow, and we can get this fertiliser spread out of here, get some spraying done, tidy up for the young. All we ever do is tidy up at the moment. Tidy up for the young farmers visiting tomorrow night. So thanks for watching, and there's a couple of outro Ukrainian flags made with oilseed rape.